Joined now by the 45th President of the United States, possibly the 47th. Well, looking good so far here in New Hampshire. President Trump, breaking news today, Ron DeSantis suspending his campaign, endorsing you. Have you had a chance to speak to the governor? Do you welcome his endorsement? And what is your message to his supporters?
Well, I haven't spoken to him yet, but I appreciated the endorsement. And look, he worked hard. He worked very, very hard. It's a hard deal. There's no question about it. And including his wife and family, they were all working. And you have to respect it. They ran a good campaign. It's a tough business. I mean, very tough. But I was very honored to get his endorsement.
You're coming off a historic win in Iowa. Numbers are looking good for you here in New Hampshire. Latest Boston Globe, Suffolk University poll has you at up 20 points. Things are looking good right now. Nikki Haley, on the other hand, you brought a whole team of South Carolina lawmakers with you to New Hampshire this week. They're endorsing you, not her. If you go on to win Tuesday, will you call for Nikki Haley to drop out of this race?
Well, I would never call for it, but perhaps she should. Maybe she'll drop out on Tuesday. Let's see what happens. I mean, I hear we have very good numbers. In Iowa, remember, she came in third. She didn't come in second. Ron came in second. And maybe she'll be dropping out on Tuesday. We'll see what happens. But we go to Nevada actually first, and we're going to get 100% of that vote because they didn't register. They had bad poll numbers. They didn't even register to run. So I'm the only one running in Nevada. That's a big state. That's a lot of delegates. And then we go to South Carolina, and I have almost everybody in the state is endorsing me politically. So we're going to do very well there. And the polls are showing we're up by 40 or 50 points or something. So at some point she'll do that, I guess, but we'll see. But I don't ask people to drop out. They have to drop out of their own volition.
You mentioned Nevada, South Carolina. You got to stop in Arizona along the way there. Some folks are starting to think, maybe you're turning your eyes towards the general election. I know you don't want to get ahead of things, but are you starting to think that way?
Well, I think from the beginning I've been thinking about, look, we have the worst president in history. We have the most corrupt president in history. Biden is the worst president in the history of our country. The happiest person about Biden would be Jimmy Carter because his presidency looks totally brilliant by comparison. Jimmy Carter was a brilliant president compared to Biden. And we have to get him out. So I think I've had my eye on that from the beginning, long before I started thinking about, running against certain people. But it's looking pretty good. I will say the numbers have been great. This is a fantastic state. We've done so well here before, as you know. It's New Hampshire is a special place for me. If you remember in 2016, we came into New Hampshire really needing to get it. And we didn't just win it. We won it by 21 points. And it totally, from there on, we just ran the election out. It was beautiful. And then we won. So I love this state.
We talk about the general election. Folks are already wondering about possible VP picks. I won't ask you for a name, but I will ask you, what are the kinds of qualities you're looking for in a potential vice president? Well,
the biggest quality, the most important quality by far is how would they do as president? Because you really have to, that's the purpose. That's 95% of it, I would think. But so that would be number one. But politically, you'd want somebody that's compatible. You also want somebody you can get along with. You want to be able to get along with a VP. You work with them. And I think that's an important thing. But you really want to make sure that you pick somebody that, should it be necessary, and we hope it isn't, but they'll be a great president.
Looking abroad, we've got the war in Ukraine still going on, Iran-backed militias wreaking havoc across the Middle East. You've said when you take office again, you'll be able to stop the war in Ukraine within 24 hours. President Zelensky is saying this past week, that's very dangerous language. What is your message to him and to anyone who doubts your ability to end that war?
Well, you have to end that war. People are being killed. They're being decimated. It's horrible what's going on in that war. All wars are bad. That's just a particularly evil, bad war. I know President Putin very well. I know Zelensky very well, and I'm going to get that thing solved because it's horrible. This would have never happened if I were president. Zero chance. Putin wouldn't have done it. It would have never happened. Not even possible. And even Democrats admit that. They say if Trump were president, it wouldn't happen. And you know what else? Israel would not have been attacked because Iran had no money. They were broke. They were broke. Nobody could do business with Iran because of us. Nobody would do business. And I would have been fair to Iran. We would have had a deal. They can't have a nuclear weapon. And that would have never happened. Taiwan, let's see what happens there. But certainly there's some pretty big threats going on. all of this would have never happened. And you know what else wouldn't have happened? Inflation. You would have had no inflation because it was caused by energy. And my energy was very low.
Do you fear that any of these bad actors around the world will take advantage of the time between now and Election Day 2025, Inauguration Day 2025, less than a year away now, before you could potentially take office, to take advantage of this White House?
Well, they're doing it right now, and tremendously bad things are going to happen. It's like terrible. We're allowing millions of people to come into our country, totally unvetted. Nobody knows who they are, where they come from, and they're pouring into our country, and they're coming from some pretty tough places. And it's not even, it's almost like when I say that we will not allow men to play women's sports. I'm almost embarrassed whenever I say it, because can you imagine some other group of people listening to that, men playing women's sports? It's the same thing with this. The things that they do on the border to allow millions of people into our country, no vetting, no nothing. We don't know who they are, where they come from. It's crazy. It's absolutely crazy. And I say two things. Either they're extremely stupid or they hate our country. I don't think they're stupid at all. So they must hate the country, because who would allow people to pour into our country from places unknown and just pour into our country? And it's 100% that there's going to be a big problem. 100. It's not like, 90%. And think of it, for 4 years, we had no terror problem. I had the terror ban. I had bans on people coming in from areas where there's going to be a problem. You don't have that anymore. They're pouring in from some very bad and very dangerous places, and you are going to have big problems here. We're going to get them out. We're going to have deportation, the largest deportation, because it's not sustainable by any country. Having this is not sustainable.
A lot of folks don't know this. You first came to New Hampshire to give a campaign-type speech back in 1987.
Yeah.
A guy named Mike Dunbar, a local Republican activist, was trying to draft you to run for office. Here we are 37 years later. Did you ever think back then that you not only would be back to New Hampshire, you'd be back as president, running for president yet again, all the twists and turns between then and now? You ever reflect on that?
Well, it was very interesting. I actually came up because I did a book. I think it was The Art of the Deal at that point, right? That would be about it, but I've come up for other things. But the fact that I came up to New Hampshire in political season, because you're known for a thing called politics, right? A lot of good things, but you're also known, and I kept you, by the way, first in the nation. You know that, okay? I kept you there. You see what the Democrats have done, which I think is very bad. That's very bad. Democrats have to give it to the Republicans. What the Democrats have done to New Hampshire is, I think, disgraceful. All these years, all that history. And he did the same thing to Iowa, by the way. I mean, you know, they just like abandoned you and Iowa. I think it's terrible. But I came to promote a book, and all hell broke loose because I was here promoting a book during a thing called political season. But it's been an honor. I've had a great relationship to this state for a long time, and I think we're going to have a tremendous Tuesday, and I'll probably see you when we do.
Sounds good. Mr. President, good luck on Tuesday. Live free or die.
You better believe it.